I actually saw this, I think, on TikTok last night about what is this guy's name? Steven Crowder, and him getting a divorce. And I was like, oh, that stinks. And I kind of moved on from it. Then, of course, I come on today and people are like, hey, can you take a look at it? And it feels weird because it's like his personal life, but then also he's talking about it, his personal life. And he does say something that's a little bit weird about how it seems like he makes the point that he kind of wishes that he could, that his wife didn't really have a choice in divorcing him. So, that's weird. So I guess we'll watch it. It's something different, Let's do it.
I have been living
Let
a proverbial
lower
boot
myself
on my neck for going on years now.
Okay.
Since
That would be how I would start my coming out video, by the way.
Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side.
Okay.
And
That's
no,
good.
this was not my choice.
Okay.
My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore.
I mean, I can understand why. Like, let's just be completely real. Like, Steven Crowder is a very obnoxious, like, far right person. Not super far right, but I probably wouldn't want to be married to him either. And I would say probably the same thing about like a really far left person, maybe. I don't know. Like, he's a super politically engaged person that's kind of a mean guy. I mean, he did the whole mocking George Floyd thing. That wasn't good. I would not want to be married to somebody that would be so disrespectful to that situation. You don't have to be like, oh my God, George Floyd's a hero, to be like, yeah, I think it's a bad taste to mock a guy that was, killed. So that would be a pretty big one for me, honestly. So, I mean, he didn't consent to a divorce, true. Maybe don't be such a bad guy. And then you say, it's just comedy. And it's like, well, maybe it's not. Maybe it really bothered her. And she's like, yeah, I think it's time for me to leave this person. And, that was in 2021. So here we are now, 2 years later. 3 years later? No, 2 years later.
And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted.
Yeah.
It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life. What I consider to be my deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed.
That's good.
I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible.
Well, it's a good thing that divorce actually doesn't. Divorce and emancipation are two different things. Emancipation is when you basically divorce your parents. Luckily, you're not getting divorced. Luckily, you can still be a dad. It's like there's a little bit of sweat in my brow. Whew. Just because you get divorced doesn't mean that you can't be a good father. And I pray and I hope, and I think Crowder will still be a good father. He seems like the kind of guy that would want to be active, and I hope that he is.
And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad, and that divorce is horrible.
Yeah.
But
honestly, this opens up a good conversation about divorce, and it's like, is divorce that bad? It's not ideal, of course. I wouldn't want anybody to be divorced. But, like, is it better for your kid if you're divorced, but you're still maintaining, like, a copacetic relationship and raising your kid together? And I know that sounds weird because, obviously, ideally, you would just be in love and stay together. But, let's say you're in a miserable marriage and you stay together just for the kid and you don't get divorced. And now you're showing your kid that's what love looks like to you. Hey, this is what love looks like. It looks like two people who are very clearly miserable, but they think that that's what it's supposed to be like, and so they seek out that relationship when they get older. Is that a good thing to teach your kid, or would it be better if you're like, hey, we got divorced, but we still love you, and we're co-parenting? This way you don't teach your kid what love shouldn't be in the wrong way, right? So, a lot of times I think the problem is when people get divorced, they are very petty. But I think if you do it the right way, you get divorced, you stay like copacetic, you don't use your kid as a bargaining chip with divorce, which a lot of people do. I think that if you do that, I think that maybe divorcing from a miserable relationship is better than staying in a miserable relationship, right?
In today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter. In Texas, divorce is permitted when one party wants it.
Yep. Yep.
period.
That's good.
So for
That's
well
good
over a
thing.
year,
No.
in the best interest as well as physical safety of my children, we've decided to keep this issue private and to resolve it privately with the appropriate attorneys.
So why'd you make it public? I guess I would have just been like, hey guys, my wife and I, we had a rough marriage, and we got divorced, and it stinks, but it is what it is. That's what I would have said, because I just feel like this is something not to talk about publicly. It's like for the kids especially, like I don't know, puts them on blast.
What have you, legal jargon. Now, in all this, one thing I want to be really clear about is certain.
Yeah.
True north here is that my children are blameless, completely without fault.
Oh my goodness, I would have never expected that. You're such a hero, Steven. Like, yeah, of course they're not. They shouldn't be blamed. What?
And so we decided to resolve these issues privately, as it's in their best interests, both emotionally and physically, to do so. Now, the other issue is, and this is something that I've kept private for likely far too long, many other people knew about this behind the scenes.
Yeah, I imagined your friends and stuff.
Some, not all, but some of them in positions of power, influence, leverage.
Oh no.
Knew of this. They also knew that the safety of my children included keeping it private. So if you're familiar with the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well.
How come you're breathing as hard as I am? It's wild, bro. Like, you're breathing like a morbidly obese 33-year-old man sitting in his bedroom reacting to Steven Crowder videos.
Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Steven has a lot going on.
Okay.
That's just the best way to say it. He has a lot going on, and that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's not a lot going on in their lives. I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him. Sometimes people need a prayer. Sometimes people need a scripture. Stephen purports to be a Christian. I am unsure at this moment if it is my place to say more than that. Maybe if I feel in further defense, something should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
Bro, it's just funny because they're all such dog shit, fucking worthless pieces of shit people, and I just don't care. Okay, I'm going to assume that has to do with when Steven Crowder was a crybaby piss boy about the contract Daily Wire offered him for like a lot of money over a period of time, and he was like, that's not good. I shouldn't have to take a bad deal, and cried about it. And Candice was like, the reason he's doing this is because he's got a lot going on in his personal life, and wouldn't allude to more. It's not good. She's like, she shouldn't be talking about that publicly. She shouldn't be doing that. I think that's really shitty of her. But then at the same time, it's also shitty of Crowder to like do the same thing. You decimated a relationship.
Patrick Logue became a member.
Hey, thank you so much for the small guy, brother. It's also shitty what Crowder did to like Ben Shapiro, like his friend and stuff, and the way that he talked about Daily Wire and like the other guy in the way that where like they were so bad to him when they weren't. So I don't care. You're all just a bunch of petty little pee-pee poopy boys. I don't care, but like, yeah, that's shitty of her, but it's also shitty of you. And also she was pretty vague. So I would just stop being her friend, but.
Oh, my children have a right to privacy.
Yeah, thank God she didn't bring it up. She just said that Steven Crowder. I thought that when I heard that first, which was just now, really. But it could have just been about how you're gay, and there's nothing wrong with that, Steven. It is okay. Maybe you can explore yourself in a better way. Pray for him. We have to pray for him, guys. That's really what this boils down to.
Now, some other issues have been, or I should say, inferences have been more pernicious behind the scenes with demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time that it could be used, knowingly putting my children in harm's way. So,
what's the harm's way stuff? Why do you keep saying the harm's way? I don't know what you mean by that. This information coming out is not going to harm them. It might upset them, I guess, a little bit, but I wouldn't use those words. It seems a little disproportionate.
To those self-styled Christians, conservatives, and allies, well, not in my book. Now, if you find yourself, I don't want to get into details, so this is going to likely be the only time I have to address this or want to address this. If you're asking yourself,
Okay.
hey, did X person or did Y person know? The answer is likely yes.
Okay.
Which will be made alarmingly clear as this process of discovery continues.
Is XY a girl or a boy? I don't remember.
And it also, by the way, makes me that much more appreciative of those who did know about this and in understanding the best interests of my family, my children, kept their word and used discretion.
Okay.
I can't thank you enough. Sincerely, I appreciate it. Won't forget it. It's pretty simple. I loved a woman so much that I married her.
Damn. That was your first mistake.
A woman who, despite all of this, I still love as
Okay.
the mother of my children.
That's good.
And she wanted something else for her life.
Yeah. I can
That's not
understand
my
that.
choice. She simply wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now,
It is how it works. Stop saying it like that, Steven. It makes you look like a silly goose. I mean, listen, I feel for my man's here because that's sad. Like, it really is. All memes aside, all bust and chowder shops aside, it sounds like this man loved his wife and then she just didn't love him back. And we could sit here and we could dunk on him, and it's fun to tease him a little bit, but that's really hurtful. That sucks. That's hard. Have you ever been in a situation where you loved a girl, or you loved the boy, or you loved the person, and with all your heart, and you could see yourself being with them for the rest of your life, and they were just like, no, no, thank you. That hurts. That's a weight on your soul. Unironically, all dunking aside, that's sad. It's just sad. I feel bad for Crowder. I feel bad. If you like, love is such a powerful thing, but it's in a good and a bad way. You know, love can destroy you. It can really build you up and make you. It could also destroy you. You know, like love with my wife has built me up. It's made me who I am. It makes me a confident, man. It makes me be able to get out of bed every day and come on and do what I got to do, and motivates me to be a better person. But if my wife didn't love me anymore, wow. And I know for a lot of people, it's like, yeah, that stinks, but that's how it is. But no, man, it's not like that. Like when you really love somebody and you've put everything into them because like, that's what you feel. Okay. It's not a choice. When you love somebody like that, it doesn't just turn off. It doesn't. It stays with you forever, for a very long time, at least. If my wife came home and was like, I just think we should get a divorce, I would be torn apart. That would make me so sad. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I would honestly, I think I might. I don't know. I might check out. I might check out of the old hotel. I don't know if I can do that. Tell you. The first thing I would do is grab a delicious Diet Coke. Not bad. Thank you so much for the 4-month sub. I used to be a big Crowder fan, but he makes me so hard. What the fuck? I used to be a Crowd fan, but he makes it so hard. Oh, I thought you said he makes you hard. So, I'm sorry, Steven.
of course, look, I get it. There are multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own, in that I picked wrong, and that's certainly not the fault of my children.
Okay, relax. You don't have to throw shit at your ex-wife.
And I will say that what's in the best interest of my children is not internet drama, speculation.
Well, you're kind of doing
certainly
that,
not blatant or veiled shakedowns or dragging their father or mother, and I can't be clear on that enough, or their mother through the mud.
You're doing it a little bit. You're taking a shot, but I'll give you a break. You can take one little shot at her.
And to anyone who tries it, I'm no longer going to pacify, capitulate, or sidestep because I love them a whole lot more than I love you. And I will continue to do whatever is necessary to protect my children discussing the divorce any further on social media or on this show or in any public space is not what's best for them.
Yeah.
I'll be handling this through the proper legal avenues and channels available as a matter of record in which I have more than full confidence.
Okay.
So I'd ask that you understand the need for and respect our privacy in what is obviously a pretty tough time.
Yeah.
And I hope that none of this has to go any further than that.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Stephen. Let's do a little prayer for him. Everybody. Holy, holy, holy Lord, Hosanna. Oh, I'm getting the words wrong. So we're just going to be quiet. Heaven and full of glory, Hosanna in the highest. Is he who comes in the name of the Lord. I'm getting better at the song. Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna in the highest. Beautiful.